Ohio. This is John, and welcome back to Ohio Business Podcast. Just to recap a little bit, I am the owner of Locked In at the Lakes Escape Room in Portage Lakes. I also own Rage Room Ohio. For those of you who don't know, Rage Room is a place where you get to go in and smash up TVs and bottles and plates, especially during this COVID-19 stuff. We're going to have a huge party when this all finally ends. So today on the show, we have Emily Schofield with Art of Sucre, who happens to be my sister. Obviously, I know her story. I asked her to come on and share her story and background. So welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Hanging in there.
Good.
So give me a little background. What exactly is Art of Sucre?
Yeah, so Art of Sucre is a cotton candy company, and what we mainly do is cart service. So we bring one of our 6 machines to any type of event, really, whether it's a birthday party, a wedding, a corporate event, doesn't matter. And we spin fresh cones of cotton candy on site. We do pre-spun containers of cotton candy, mannequin head, so picture like hair that's cotton candy. We have champagne toppers that you push into your champagne, and it's just super customizable. So we have flavors like orange bourbon, cherry cola, peach, Bellini, all the things that you can kind of imagine and what you've ever wanted from your cotton candy.
And when exactly did you start this venture?
So it's been almost 4 years, which is pretty crazy. I was just finishing up my undergraduate degree, which is in psychology, and I had just gotten married, and the plan was to go on to grad school to get my degree in clinical and mental health counseling. And just kind of through finishing up my undergrad and wedding planning, it just wasn't feeling right, that next step. And so I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, and kind of got the idea just through planning my wedding and seeing some things online that people were really looking for interactive, really elevated things to add to their events. And on my way back from my honeymoon, I looked at my husband and said, "Hey, I have this idea." And he said, "Do it. Let's go for it." And that's kind of how I got started.
Definitely a good story for sure. You kind of mentioned before, like the business is so customizable. Would you say that's probably the thing that sets you apart from competition?
Oh yeah, absolutely. All of our packages are custom. Really, every service that we offer is custom. So clients will come to me and say, "Hey, I had this crazy idea. Hey, I want watermelon cotton candy, but I want it to be blue. Can you do that?" And that's really what we specialize in, is creating that unique experience. So even if you've seen us at several different events, it's never exactly the same as it was at the previous event, and people really enjoy that.
Awesome. So obviously you said you've been going for about 4 years now. To date, what would you say is the biggest achievement?
One of the things that I really kind of had my eye on from the beginning, I'm a huge list maker, and whether you call it like manifesting or writing it down, praying about it, whatever that is to you, has always been working with professional sports teams. Cotton candy is obviously a traditional treat that you see in those arenas, and it was always on my list. So when I got that call from the Cavs, I kind of took a moment to be like, whoa, this is, everything that I dreamed of and worked really hard for. And then quickly that turned into working with the Browns, and then being able to do the Elton John concert twice, and Ariana Grande and Travis Scott. It just really snowballed into some of the really cool opportunities that I've gotten to do.
Well, obviously those are, fantastic achievements. Definitely I know myself and the family are proud for sure. Going forward over the next, 4 or 5 years, what are some goals going, moving forward and achievements?
Yeah, so one thing, to continue to do bigger events like that, to even travel with it. One thing that I've always had on my list is New York Fashion Week, and that's just because personally I want to go to New York Fashion Week, so why not make it a business write-off? But to see our stuff on the shelves in stores would be really cool, to help other small businesses, maybe even expand into different states, give people the opportunity to own their own business. Things like that are on the list in the next 5 years for sure.
So obviously, I think myself, you, and a lot of pretty much the rest of America has been definitely feeling the crushing blow of this coronavirus thing. What have you been doing to stay busy? How has it affected you?
Yeah, so I think it is affecting everybody right now for sure. One thing that's a little bit tricky is I work with the health department on a regular basis just because we do food. So that's something that adds a whole other wrench into things. And just because of the specific license that we hold, we're not a restaurant or anything like that. It's a mobile license, so that's even different regulation. So we've decided to shut down production completely, which has been it's been sad. I've actually was just kind of in my internal software and was going through all of the events that we've had to cancel. That's been a lot of my emails. Thankfully, most of my clients have been deciding to postpone, which is really great. And that's a whole other kind of logistical nightmare, but that's kind of a future Emily issue because we can't, obviously, no one knows when things are going to be open again. So, business wise, it has been slow. It's been a little scary. Staying busy, trying to make plans for the future, but trying not to get too kind of stuck in those plans. Because, like I just said, we don't know and no one knows. My house is very clean right now, so I guess that's an upside. Lots of organizing at home and just kind of trying to prep when we can get back into the studio and kick off events and production again.
Do you find, I know for me personally, do you find it hard to stay motivated during these times?
Yes. And I have a studio space, so I have a space that's outside of my home that I do a lot of work in. But for the most part, I do a lot of my contracting and emails, all the non-fun side of business stuff at home. So I'm used to working from home. It's a little bit different. My husband's home now, so he works obviously full time, and he's on the phone a lot. So trying to stay motivated to get my work done. But to be quite honest, there's not a ton of work for me to be doing right now. So getting creative with that, staying busy, keeping the dog quiet, like little things that were never an issue before. It's easy to just want to sit on the couch and watch Netflix all day. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But it's the more that I do that or fall into that, the harder it's going to be to get out of that, I guess, habit when all of this goes back.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that is kind of a good segue into my next question. I know for me, my brain's been going 100 miles an hour. Have you been kind of toying with any other business ideas, any other projects, anything outside of Art of Sucre?
Yeah, so that's always kind of the question. I always feel like I have little ideas for different businesses and really kind of working out the kinks, whether it's just an idea or whether it's viable or not. So I really like working with like social media and marketing, so like offering services to help other businesses do that. I love to read, so even just I've played with the idea of starting like a book blog or Instagram. Obviously that's super inundated, so who knows if it would become, another business, but it would be fun even just for kind of a creative outlet that you could potentially turn into a business. Or I've always kind of had this idea of something that like when for the most part, if a woman, it's Valentine's Day, you send her flowers, or if someone passes, you send flowers, things like that, but there's not really an alternative to send to men. So maybe it's just always a business idea that I've had, kind of playing with stuff like that. Nothing too concrete yet, but it's always fun to kind of dream a little bit outside of what I do on a regular basis.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's definitely something I've been doing the last couple of weeks. Been staying. Um, so, kind of, just in closing here, for those people sitting at home, entrepreneurs, anybody that's tuning in, that have always wanted to start a business and just could never find the pathway forward, or what that looks like, or how to get started, or anything like that. Any advice you would give to them?
Yeah, so there's kind of two things that I always tell people when they ask me that. The first is literally, this sounds so cliche, and it's Nike's slogan for a reason, but just do it. The hardest part is just starting, is taking that leap, whether it's securing that Instagram handle, Facebook name, getting your LLC, whatever that first step looks like for you, even just saying out loud, like, I am going to do this, do it. Because I guarantee you will never regret doing it. You're only going to regret if you don't do it. But more than that, what I have found to be just super successful for me and in my business is really hone in on your specialty and what you're good at. So kind of find that niche of where you fit and get creative within that, and people will respect that. People laugh sometimes when I tell them what my job is and what I do full time, and they're confused as to like how cotton candy is a full-time job, and they ask if we do other desserts and things like that, and we don't. It is, I just do cotton candy, and that has served me really well, because we do it and we do it well and we're creative with it. So if you can kind of find what your specialty is and really become an expert in that, I think that that really helps.
Definitely good advice. Obviously, having a psychology background, are there any kind of tests or anything out there that people could take to help them kind of hone in exactly what their skills could be or what they could be best at?
I think one of the ones that's so popular right now is the Enneagram. So if you have not taken that or haven't read up on it, I think that it's something that is super interesting. It tells you a lot about not only yourself, but also about like your partner, your friends, your family, and how you interact with other numbers on that scale. So it's, like I said, it's kind of trendy right now, but it's also super fun, especially when you've got time in quarantine to take it, have whoever you're quarantined with take it and kind of compare it. I think you'll be shocked to see how accurate it really is about who you are, what you like to do, and there's a bunch of stuff on the internet about different like personality traits and things like that that go along with your number.
Interesting. Okay. I've never even heard that. I'll have to look it up. Well,
Yeah.
I think that's about all I have for you. So I appreciate you coming on and giving people some insight. And sure, I'll see you soon or whenever this, maybe even not till May now, according to the governor. So
Whenever we're allowed to be with our family again.
yeah, I mean, you can barely even go outside anymore. So, all right. Well,
Yeah,
talk to you
so
soon, and
hopefully
thanks
soon.
again.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.